Send STH out or send out STH. To produce something that spreads out from a central point. The device sends out ultrasonic waves for measurement. Sensational, exciting. Very exciting or extremely good. The breakthrough was a sensational result in genetics research. Sense. Definition. Factual, scientific, informative sentence. Sense, a verb. To feel or experience something without being able to explain exactly how. Plants can sense changes in light and adjust growth accordingly. Senseless. Happening or done without a good reason. Destroying samples without analysis is senseless. Sensibility, noun. Someone's feelings or the ability to understand others. A scientist's sensibility helps interpret participants' reactions. Sentiment. An opinion you have because of the way you feel. Public sentiment supported the environmental study. Sentimental, feeling. Showing kind feelings, especially in a silly way. He was sentimental about the old lab notebooks. Sentimental, value. Related to feelings and memories, not money. The first microscope has sentimental value to the lab. Sequence, order. The order that events or things should happen. Following the correct sequence in the experiment is crucial. Sequence, series. A series of related events or things in order. The PCR involves a sequence of precise steps. Serene. Calm and quiet. The serene lab environment aids concentration. Serenity, noun. A feeling of being calm and happy. The early morning gave the researcher a sense of serenity. Serve, prison, the verb. To be in prison for a period of time. The scientists served a prison sentence for violating research ethics. Survey the purpose. To have a practical use. Insulation materials serve the purpose of maintaining building temperatures efficiently. Survey the purpose. To have a use. The buffer serves the purpose of maintaining pH stability. Set. Fixed and never changing. The incubation temperature was set at 37 degrees Celsius for the experiment. Set fire to STH, set STH on fire. To make something start burning, usually to cause damage. The lab technician accidentally set fire to a pile of paper. Set fire to STH, set STH on fire. To make something start burning, usually to cause damage. The warehouse was deliberately set fire to during the night, causing extensive damage to nearby buildings. Set guidelines, standards, etc. To establish guidelines, standards, etc. that must be followed. The laboratory set strict safety guidelines for handling volatile chemicals. Set off STH or set STH off. To cause something to begin or happen, especially a loud noise or a lot of activity. The chemical reaction set off a chain of small explosions in the lab experiment. Set out, aim, verb. To start an activity with a particular aim. The research team set out to study plant growth under different light conditions. Set sail. To start a journey by boat or ship. The research team set sail to study marine life in the bay. Set sail. To start a journey by boat or ship. The oceanographers set sail to collect marine samples from the Pacific. Set STH down on, etc. To put something somewhere. The student carefully set down the microscope on the lab bench. Set your sights on STH, idiom. To decide to achieve something. The young scientist set her sights on winning the prestigious research grant. Set your sights on STH, idiom. To decide to achieve something. The young scientist set her sights on publishing in a high-impact journal. Set, start the ball rolling, idiom. To begin an activity involving a group. To start the ball rolling, the lead investigator released the preliminary dataset so that collaborative analysis could begin. Set, start the ball rolling, idiom. To begin an activity that involves a group. The professor set the ball rolling by assigning the first task. Settle, pay, verb. If you settle a bill or a debt, you pay the money that you owe. The university settled the research grant payment to the department. Settle, SB, down. To become quiet and calm, or to make someone quiet and calm. The teacher helped settle the students down before the demonstration. Settlement, arrangement, noun. An arrangement to end a disagreement without taking it to court. The dispute over lab equipment was resolved through a formal settlement. Settlement, place, noun. A town or village which people built to live in. Early human settlements were often established near water sources for research. Severity, noun. How severe something is. The severity of chemical burns depends on the concentration of the acid. Shabby, unfair. Not fair or not honest. It was shabby to claim credit for the collaborative experiment without consent. Shade, cover, noun. A cover that stops too much light coming from the sun or an electric light. The plant samples were kept in the shade to prevent photodegradation. Shake, voice, verb. If your voice shakes, you sound very nervous or frightened. Her voice shook as she presented the unexpected results to the panel. Shake off STH or shake STH off. To get rid of an illness, something unpleasant, or a problem. The students quickly shook off their nervousness before the lab practical. Shake up SB or shake SB up. If an unpleasant experience shakes someone up, it makes them feel shocked and upset. The sudden lab fire shook up the entire research team. Shaken. Shocked and upset. The researcher was shaken after realizing the contamination of all samples. Shallow, not serious. Not showing any interest in serious ideas. The discussion was shallow and did not address the experimental errors. Shape, a verb. To influence the way that something develops. The initial data shaped the direction of the subsequent experiments. Share, business, noun. One of the equal parts that the value of a company is divided into. The company issued new shares to fund the scientific project. Sharpen, make better, verb. To make something better or stronger. The professor sharpened the students' analytical skills through weekly exercises. Sharpen, make sharp, verb. To make something sharper. The scalpel was sharpened before the dissection. Shattered, tired. Very tired. After the 12-hour experiment, the student was shattered. Shattered, upset. Very upset. She was shattered after her experiment failed despite months of preparation. Shed light on. To make something clearer. The study shed light on the causes of antibiotic resistance. Shed light on. To provide new information about something. The new study shed light on the molecular mechanisms of aging. Sheer, steep. Very steep. The cliffside in the field site was sheer, requiring safety ropes for access. Shelter from int under etc. To go under a cover or inside a building to be protected from bad weather or danger. The researchers sheltered under a canopy during the storm. Shield, object, noun. A large, flat object that police officers and soldiers hold in front of their bodies to protect themselves. The lab used a protective shield to safely handle radioactive materials. Shine, do well, a verb. To do something very well, usually better than other people. She shone during the chemistry competition by correctly predicting the reaction outcomes. Shine, eyes, face, verb. If your eyes or face shine, you look happy, healthy, or excited. The student's eyes shone with excitement after seeing the successful reaction. Shock, electricity, noun. A sudden, painful feeling when electricity flows through your body. He received a small electric shock while assembling the circuit. Shock, movement, noun. A sudden movement caused by an explosion, accident, etc. The blast caused a shock that knocked over lab equipment. Shoot across, out up, etc. To move somewhere very quickly. The liquid shot across the tray when the container was tipped. Short-sighted, sight. Not able to see far without wearing glasses. The lab technician was short-sighted and needed corrective lenses for precise measurements. Short-sighted, thinking. Not thinking enough about how an action will affect the future. Planning experiments without considering long-term consequences is short-sighted thinking. Shower SB with STH. To give someone a lot of presents, praise, etc. The mentor showered the interns with praise for their innovative designs. Shrewd. Good at judging situations and making decisions which give you an advantage. The shrewd lab manager allocated resources efficiently to maximize productivity. Shrug, verb. To move your shoulders up and down to show that you do not care or do not know. The student shrugged when asked about the unexpected reaction outcome. Shudder, verb. To shake, usually because you are thinking of something unpleasant. She shuddered at the thought of contaminating all the samples. Sibling, noun. A sister or brother. Both siblings pursued careers in biomedical research. Sick, cruel. Cruel and unpleasant. It was sick to manipulate experimental data to support false conclusions. Side, body, noun. The two areas of your body from under your arms to the tops of your legs. Muscle strength was measured on each side of the body during the study. Side, relatives, noun. The part of your family who are either your mother's relatives or your father's relatives. He inherited scientific curiosity from his maternal side. Side, sport, noun. The players in a sports team. The university side won the interdepartmental sports competition. Side effect, result, noun. An extra result of a situation, especially one that you did not plan or expect. One common side effect of the drug was temporary drowsiness. Sideways. In a direction to the left or right, not forwards or backwards. The camera moved sideways to capture all angles of the experiment. Signal, verb. To make a movement which gives information or tells people what to do. The conductor signaled the team to start the experiment. Silence, no talking, noun. A period of time when someone says nothing about a particular subject or does not communicate. The laboratory was in silence while the students conducted the experiment. Simplification, noun. The process of making something more simple. The simplification of the protocol made it easier for undergraduates to follow. Sin, morally wrong. Something that you should not do because it is morally wrong. Falsifying data in a scientific study is morally wrong. Sin, religion. Something which is against the rules of a religion. Stealing laboratory equipment was considered a sin in the ethical code of the institution. Sincerity, noun. The quality of being sincere. The researcher's sincerity in reporting negative results was praised. Singles, double. Etc. Figures numbers from 0 to 9, numbers from 10 to 99, etc. The lab recorded single figures for contamination events in most tests. Sip, noun. A small amount of drink taken into the mouth. The chemist took a small sip of the solution to test the pH indicator color change safely. Siren, noun. A piece of equipment that makes a loud sound as a warning. The lab's emergency siren alerted everyone to evacuate immediately. Sit SB down at in etc. verb. To make someone sit somewhere. The instructor sat the students down before explaining the complex procedure. Sketch, description, noun. A short description of something without many details. The initial sketch of the apparatus helped the team understand the setup. Sketch STH out. To give a short description with few details, especially of an idea or plan. The lead scientist sketched out the experimental design before starting. Skull, noun. The part of your head that is made of bone and protects your brain. X-rays were used to examine the integrity of the skull after the impact test. Slap. A hit with the flat, inside part of your hand. He accidentally received a slap from the moving lab equipment. Slaughter, noun. When a lot of people or animals are killed in a cruel way. The study analyzed the environmental impact of animal slaughter practices. Sleep on it, verb. To wait until the next day before making a decision about something important. The team decided to sleep on it before finalizing the research plan. Sleep with SB. To have sex with someone. The investigation revealed that the official had secretly slept with a colleague, raising serious concerns about abuse of power and professional misconduct. Slender. Thin in an attractive way. The slender microtubes fit perfectly into the microscope holder. Slice, part, noun. A part of something, such as an amount of money. A slice of the research grant was allocated for equipment. Slim, small. Small and not as much as you would like. There was a slim chance of obtaining a perfect crystal growth. Slip, out of position, the verb. To slide out of the correct position. The microscope lens slipped out of position during calibration. Slip away, die. If someone slips away, they die. Hospital officials confirmed that the patient slipped away peacefully late last night after a prolonged illness. Slip away, disappear. If someone's power or the possibility of them winning or achieving something slips away, it disappears. The opportunity to publish first slipped away due to delayed analysis. Slip away, leave. To leave secretly. The subject slipped away from the observation room unnoticed. Slip away, time. If a period of time slips away, it seems to pass quickly. Hours slipped away as the students worked on the lab experiment. Slip out, say something. If a remark slips out, you say it without intending to. A comment about contamination slipped out during the presentation. Slip out through, etc. To go somewhere quietly or quickly. The student slipped out of the lab to answer a phone call. Slip sth into, through, etc. To put something somewhere quickly or secretly. The technician slipped the sample into the incubator without disturbing the others. Slip up. To make a mistake. The technician slipped up while labeling the samples, causing confusion. Slip your mind. To be forgotten. The deadline slipped her mind. Slip your mind, idiom. If something slips your mind, you forget about it. The deadline slipped my mind, so I had to rush the report. Slow, verb. To become slower or to make something become slower. High temperature slowed the chemical reaction. Smoky. Filled with smoke. The lab became smoky after the Bunsen burner was left on too long. Smooth, movement, a verb. Happening without any sudden movements or changes. The liquid flowed smoothly through the pipette. Smoothly, without sudden movements. Without any sudden movements or changes. The robot arm moved smoothly while assembling components. Snap, break, the verb. If something long and thin snaps, it breaks making a short, loud sound, and if you snap it, you break it making a short, loud sound. The thin wire snapped under tension. Snap, lose control, verb. To suddenly be unable to control a strong feeling, especially anger. The scientist snapped after repeated failed experiments. Snap, speak angrily, verb. To say something suddenly in an angry way. She snapped at her assistant for mishandling the samples. Snap, sth, open, shut together. To suddenly move to a particular position making a short, loud noise, or to make something do this. He snapped the test tube shut after adding the reagent. Snatch, verb. To take something or someone quickly and suddenly. He snatched the pipette from the bench to prevent contamination. Sneak a look-y glance at sth. To look at someone or something quickly and secretly. He sneaked a glance at the control panel while the experiment was running. Sneak into, out, around, etc. To go somewhere quietly because you do not want anyone to hear you. The intern sneaked around the lab to avoid disrupting ongoing experiments. Sneak sth into, out of, through, etc. To take something somewhere without anyone seeing you. She sneaked the USB drive into the computer to transfer data. Sniff, make a noise, verb. To breathe air in through your nose in a way that makes a noise. The student sniffed repeatedly while observing the strong chemical odor. Sniff, smell, verb. To breathe air in through your nose in order to smell something. The chemist sniffed the solution to identify its scent cautiously. Snob, noun. Someone who thinks they are better than other people because they are in a higher social position. The lab director was considered a snob for favoring elite university graduates. Snobbish. Like a snob. His snobbish attitude made collaboration difficult. So far so good. Used to say that something has gone well until now. So far so good, all test samples are stable under controlled conditions. So far so good. Used to say that something has gone well until now. So far so good, the chemical reaction is proceeding as expected. So far so good. Used to say that something has gone well until now. So far so good, all the sensors are functioning correctly. So much for. Used to say that something has not been useful or successful. So much for the initial method, it did not yield any significant results, so to speak. Used to explain that the words you are using do not have their usual meaning. The particles, so to speak, danced in the magnetic field, so to speak. Used to explain that the words you are using do not have their usual meaning. The reaction, so to speak, danced along the surface of the solution. Soar, in the sky, verb. To move quickly and smoothly in the sky, or to move quickly up into the sky. The drone soared above the research site for aerial imaging. Soar, increase, verb. To increase to a high level very quickly. The temperature soared when the reaction became exothermic. Sober, not bright, adjective. Clothes or colors that are sober are plain and not bright. The lab staff wore sober uniforms to avoid distractions. Sober, not drunk, adjective. Someone who is sober is not drunk. All participants remained sober during the chemical experiment. Sober, serious, adjective. Someone who is sober is serious and thinks a lot. The scientist maintained a sober approach when analyzing the controversial data. Socialism, noun. A political system in which the government owns important businesses and industries, and allows the people to share money and opportunities equally. The university hosted a seminar on socialism and its impact on scientific solid, certain, adjective. Solid information, proof, etc. is based on facts and you are certain that it is correct. The report was based on solid experimental evidence. Solitary, done alone, adjective. A solitary activity is done alone. He preferred solitary experiments to minimize interference. Solitary, only, adjective. A solitary person or thing is the only person or thing in a place. The solitary researcher worked in a remote lab.